Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Sup Podcast 115 is about to start. I am one of your hosts, Chris Cheney. Across from me in the virtual studio, I guess, we have Lawrence Deloach, the Kombucha King, and then the ABG Hunter, Luke Trevisi, also in the building.
I'm gonna get you.
Here we are, guys. Today is... because this day should be really noted. It's May 31st, Sunday, 2020, amongst this quarantined time, while also this rioting time. There have been a number of protests that have gotten, I think what we could say is out of hand, and caused some of our favorite places to be broken into and looted. For what isn't even really the companies, in some cases, some of our stuff. So we're in a very, I hate to say trying time. I don't know. I've just, so many buzzwords have been used about what kind of situation that we're in, but it's unprecedented for, needless to say. And how do you guys feel about what's going on?
It's sad. It's very sad that it has to even get to this point. You know, that's like ultimately how I feel about it. Like this shouldn't be happening. Like none of this should be happening. Like this is all easily avoidable stuff. I'm glad people are speaking out about it. I'm glad that there's action being taken. But yeah, at some points it becomes very hard to like watch what's going on. You know?
Yeah.
It's hard to watch African American men consistently be treated like they're subhuman. It's hard to watch an 8-minute and 46-second, close to 9-minute video of a man have a police officer put his knee in his neck where he can't breathe and he's screaming out for his mother. It's hard to see Black people across the country, and you can name names: Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo. It's hard to see that at the hands of police officers. So when you have all of that, and if there wasn't a video of this gentleman, if there wasn't a video of what we saw, then the cops would have swept it under the rug, like they've done so many times. And we've, for the last 30 years, since, obviously Rodney King is probably one of the first major ones that we saw on tape of a Black man being assaulted by police officers, and the cops still were able to be free after this injustice. And you saw the Los Angeles riots in 1992, where people were just fed up. And we could flash forward to 2020, and people are fed up. But this time it's not just LA, it's Minnesota, it's Atlanta, New York City, LA,
all over the place.
There's numerous cities that people have just come together because they're tired of it, and it brings up you sit there and you do watch these billion-dollar companies have their stores looted. And the first store I believe we saw on camera was Target. But I don't feel it's not, I don't feel that it's something that people are saying, well, these people are, taking advantage of the situation. Police officers have taken advantage of the situation for years, and I think people are just upset. Do I think that, do I think looting a sneaker store, which we'll get into in a little bit, do I think that's right? I mean, who's to say what's right and wrong at this point in this world? I mean, sneakers can be replaced. The things that were stolen out of these stores, granted, not everyone had the greatest intentions at all. I mean, not, they didn't, but that stuff could be bought back. Property damage, insurance that covers it. But when a black man, his life was snuffed out, and that'll never come back. So when I see this, I'm like, if this is the method that people want to get across to police, to the government, to everyone, this to say, hey, this should not happen, then fuck it, burn it to the ground.
It's such a crazy, there's just so many angles, I guess, is part of the problem, right? Because being white, right, that's pretty obvious. I would like to go support. I would like to be a part of some of these protests, but sometimes things that I maybe do to support a cause can be turned around and flipped and be blamed on a black stereotype, which is a part of this looting situation. It's weird because the only way to get some people's attention is to fuck with their money, which I think was the cause of things like that initial Target protests, where people will get ignored until people's bank accounts get disrupted because that's what they really care about. So if I participate in that looting, though, or any white person or any other minority, Luke, Asians, whatever, Italians, any type of person, it can get it flipped, and then it could be part of a black stereotype. So it's just interesting to see what people have chosen to do and what side they really stand on. I don't know how you guys necessarily feel about it, but I feel like we speak for everybody, that's even guests that's been on the podcast, where we say we want justice for George Floyd and for African Americans in this country. And I mean, it's hard to start this on such a heavy note, but I think it's good to say where we stand. And I mean, going into the looting even further, more relevant to the podcast, I think, was Flight Club the real first one that kind of caught the attention?
I think that was the first
the people in LA,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to realize people have been looting Louis Vuitton, like a lot of these, stores. Round 2 in Virginia and round 2 in LA were hit.
Yep.
Flight Club obviously is the most known, or most well publicized sneaker shop that was looted.
Also the most sort of corporate as far as a reselling entity. The Nike stores and other things, those are billion-dollar businesses. But it's with Flight Club that not only was the business hurt, but the customers and being the sellers also.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you pointed out to us in our group chat outside of the recording, is that they take StockX and all these other companies, they take no responsibility for any of the things that are lost, distributed, or destroyed.
Yeah.
So not only are we in a time where some people can't even pay their bills, in an effort to pay their bills, they try to sell their sneakers, which they care about so much, for them to get stolen and damaged. I think this also goes into what Virgil said in a statement on his Instagram story, where he was saying streetwear is dead because it was a community that no longer exists. You guys want me to kind of pull it up to? Here, let me.
Yeah,
sure, you can pull it up.
Yeah, I got it. Because this is also something that we've speculated in general of what he meant by this. I think Not only does the unfortunate timing of the situation help him elaborate, but also, I mean, he has further examples of this where, here, let me just read this first paragraph here, or a couple. Number 80. Why I said streetwear is dead. Streetwear is a community. It's groups of friends that I've had a common bond. We hang out on the street corners, fight with each other, fight for each other. Streetwear is a detachment to the above. Streetwear is yelling and shop staff, starting fights in lineups, defaming us because we didn't get enough pairs of our shoes because everyone can't get a pair. Streetwear is a group of friends that I'm surely was like, come on, guys, this is Sean's store. We can't treat him like this. We know Sean. Maybe Sean, in this example, being Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does make a good point. The culture here, which has been seen by, especially what was taken from these stores, is no longer there. It is just a product of, I guess, this hype, right? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, but if you look back, you see, this is my issue with this, is that if you look back at the history of reselling, one of the first places to start, like, to really mainstream, like, to make reselling like a mainstream thing was Flight Club.
Yeah.
And it was taking advantage of a cultural phenomenon started in the Black community that, that has become more about dollars than, the shoes. When I was a kid, shopping for like the sneaker community was sneakerheads.com on a forum, and you'd be like, I'm looking for these shoes, and then somebody would pop up and they give you a pretty decent deal on them because they're just nerds who like sneakers. And it's gone very far away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Flight Club, and I've been I've resold sneakers since, I'm gonna say, 2004, 2003, 2004, and we're looking at, and the first, like you said, Luke, the first place that I remember, I mean, I used to sell on Nike Talk. I've sold on InStyle shoes, Soul Collectors. I've sold on a lot of, I think, InStyle shoes. I'm not sure if they had a forum. I sold on a lot of different platforms, and I just remember Flight Club being the first place that I took my sneakers to when they were on Green Street or Green Avenue, whatever. I think it's Green Street.
Mm-hmm.
And this is around 2004, 2005, and I've had my indifference. I've had my moments in Flight Club, especially in the early days, where I literally was gonna fight the employees. Like I did not. There was one Spanish dude, I'll never forget. For a long time, we would just like not like each other. And as years progressed, we got a lot cooler. Like, you see someone's face for 5, 7 to 10 years, you're gonna, eventually just be like, what's good? You're gonna chop it up with them. But, I always used to say that Flight Club wasn't the best thing for streetwear, if that makes sense. And I'm not gonna pinpoint and just make a point and put the blame on Flight Club, but there's somewhere along the line when Flight Club monetized sneakers so much that it did kind of, like, streetwear and sneakers definitely became less of a hobby and more of a fuck you, I'll do whatever it takes to make an extra $20. Right.
Yeah, because you get not even like people who are big fans of sneakers. You've seen it in the comedy community. I'm not going to name names, but we know they exist. People who we've seen in comedy clubs who we'll wear whatever shoes. We could wear, Fear of Gods, Off-Whites, anything, and they won't bat an eye, but they'll be online selling shoes,
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you have stores like Flight Club where it's like, I can see a physical dollar amount on this shoe. This is a legitimate retailer selling these shoes for this much money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
it's well, just to play off what you're saying, sure, Luke, and it's sort of, that look what I can get for this dollar amount is what's caused people like this guy. So this was a dude posting what he stole from Flight Club to, like, brag.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he got some mags, which the price tag generally on those is like $20,000 ish. I mean, but look at this shit.
Yeah,
this is bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's there's so many different feelings behind it, because if the culture of Flight Club doesn't own any of those, like, everything is consignment, so there's people that drop those sneakers off, but because Flight Club is such a respected known entity in the world that like, fuck it, like, people dropping off hundreds of $1,000s worth of sneakers there, not And this is something that Flight Club's been in business for almost 2 decades. This has never happened. I've dropped off sneakers for for $3,000, $4,000 in there, and just been like, all right, like you just it's like it's Flight Club. They're gonna the shit. Who you trust. So now I feel like this is gonna be very interesting and tricky, especially with them. Yeah. In terms of how things will shake out, in terms of, people that obviously that are, putting these high priced items in there for it to walk out. As we saw, I sent you guys something today that was like about round 2 in New York City. Their Virginia store has been looted. Mm-hmm. Their LA store has been looted, but in New York, they took all their shit out now. Yeah. So it's like, if New York, which I'm very shocked that a lot of these stores haven't been looted. Yeah, there's nothing in there for you, so it's like, all right, we'll have property damage, but it's
damn. It's just, this is such a heavy topic for us. It's like, I mean, we know where we stand. Mm-hmm. I think the listeners know if they followed us for a long time. It's hard to argue against the looting, though. Also. I mean, going back to what I was saying, it's like how often and how do I even phrase this? I mean, we've all said and protested it like so many different times. We've been peaceful. Like even us, we follow the rules right now. We're staying home during this quarantine, right? It's like everyone's trying to do their own thing in their own way. And like I say, going back to the money thing, it's you have to fuck with people's money in order to get attention. So in that instance, I'm like kind of down for looting. But when it comes to this stuff, it's like, but where's the line? Like, how do you guys even really define? You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think you got to really look at it like this. I mean, there's been so many protests for so many different things. Whether it was I Can't Breathe with Eric Garner. It was the Skittles and with Trayvon Martin. Mike Brown. There's always been people have protested. The people have marched. This is the first time in a long time that I can remember where it's like, I mean, people are setting cop cars on fire, destroying police stations. And it's almost, the public outcry on this was so heavy that it forced the FBI to get involved with this case, where they had to make some type of, arrest or some type of, they had to do something with this police officer. So, like I said, to me, America has been built on looting, rioting, stealing, doing whatever it took.
Yeah, which is not, you're not wrong.
No, this country was, built on slaves. Slaves built this country, and if you really want to get deep about it, so. I feel so. This is not anything that I'm really like batting an eye. I mean, these. If you're talking about Target and Walmart and fucking Louis Vuitton, like they have insurance. They have.
Yeah, hit them up.
They'll be. I'm not saying that's the answer, but what I'm saying is that I think people are just like. Like I said, I've never seen a riot where police cars are being burnt down in numbers. Like people are literally like a cop gets out of his car and then a minute later his car is like on fire.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because it's literally not new. We have historic evidence, not into this stuff that even you're saying, Lawrence, which we all know about, all the recent deaths in the years, but there's not a fuck the fire department song. You know what I mean? Like there's been a fuck the police song that has been over and over and over played for the past like 30 years. Do the right thing. This is exactly what happened to it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not all. It's befuddling. But just to kind of bring this to a lighter side of things, because we could stay in this depressing topic the whole thing. There are some cool things that are coming out of it. With one thing, Nike's new campaign, the "Don't Do It," that's cool. And then for Adidas to hop on and say like, yeah, we're with this. So now there's not only our two sort of haloed companies that we all sort of look to, they're coming together and at least they're doing the right thing socially.
Mhm.
Which who'd have thought it would take another black guy dying for Nike and Adidas to team up? It's an unfortunate instance that has to be the thing, but I think it is going to lead somewhere for down the road, a positive light amongst all this stuff. I mean, is there any other positive things that you guys have seen?
Nope. No.
Right? Imagine.
Nah, people coming together. I think that's really
Yeah.
honestly the positive to me. But there's not much positive going.
It is pretty beautiful to see all of like these people in New York. Like when you go out and like you see all these people protesting this one thing, there's all different creeds, colors, religions in that mix, Obviously the biggest purveyor is the black community because you got to stand up for your own, but like everybody standing up as like a community during this time. It's very nice to see, I will say, as far as that goes. There is a level of community that I think New York and all these major cities are feeling right now because they need to,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and also to keep it on the lighter side, like for those who did loot, congratulations on your new pickups. Very happy for you, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why you looted.
Yeah,
I don't know why you looted 350s or 750s, but that's fine.
Bro, listen, I think people was just trying to get whatever the fuck they could in there.
Yeah, and get out, yeah.
Some of those people in these videos, bro, they had no idea what they were doing. They just saw this shit. They were like running in there.
I saw a pair of Soulfly ones on the floor, like the Soulfly joints, and I was like, wait a second, you know how much those are going? They just dropped whatever, you know what I mean?
They don't care.
It was taking. I saw a dude. It was so funny. Dude came out with like 4 boxes, right? And a motherfucker snatched one of the boxes from him. So like it was like he jingled his shit. Like it was like dudes was just looting the looters. You know what I mean? So we're I don't know. It's interesting. It's great, man. It's really, like I said, they was like the dude got the Air Max. I really didn't. I ain't. Really.
Well, he said hard work in the video, which made me pissed me off because I was like, it's not hard work to steal. Like you were lucky,
I mean, see, my utmost respect to this photo I saw of this white guy in the Target. He had a mask on. He looked very timid, and he was just holding this giant Lego set.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the $350 Lego type shit. Like it's the whole Death Star shit. Him just walking quietly in between everybody holding his Legos. I was like, all right, my man got what he wanted at least out of that shit.
There you go.
I saw a video of a lady. She was looting the cheesecake. You know what I mean? And she was holding the cheesecake. Like that bitch was
the whole cheesecake?
She was holding the whole cheesecake.
Yes, I saw that one.
Dude, I mean, some of these are just straight up like hilarious with that. Like it's,
fuck.
I saw the people in Atlanta that fucking stopped everybody from attacking the Waffle House.
Yes.
That was pretty fun.
I didn't see that.
Everybody was like, not the Waffle House, please.
Not the Waffle House. Nah, but this is what I'm talking about. Now, for the listeners out there, obviously, you hear, Atlanta, New York, LA. It seems like New York City has been very, in terms of rioting, not many places. I did see the North Face, I believe, in Soho and Manhattan, they were looted. But I think people in New York haven't really rioted yet, and I think that's because we got cops who are out there ready to shoot. What I mean?
Our cops are fucking crazy people, man.
They are ready to fight. Like that's what they want to do.
Our cops will arrest you from looting, beat the shit out of you, and then take the shit you looted and bring it home.
Yeah,
they will. Got
really crooked cops and shit out here.
There's gonna be just videos of some sneakerhead getting beat up with the mask on. The next day, the fucking guy's wearing the mags.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we now I just wonder, like, in terms of like these stores, like these bigger stores like Flight Club, Stadium Goods in New York City, the fact that they've seen what's been happening across the country, and even Flight Club LA, and are they trying to, like we saw Round 2, move their stock out? Do you think Stadium Goods and Flight Club are doing similar, or do you think it's just too late now?
I think that any move that can be made is going to be made within the capacity of what they can do. I don't know how people Well, all right, here, this is what I say. I don't know what the mindset of the protesters are about COVID. I don't know if business owners are still looking at that as a potential threat. Like maybe they still don't want it. I don't know. People are acting like COVID's like non-existent right now. But as far as the business owners, I guess it depends on what they are worried about and how much they have in the shops.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If they got enough money to going back to this other thing, depends on fucking with the money. If they have enough money in there where it's really going to fuck their shit up, I'm sure they're going to go get their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If not, maybe they're just going like, I'll stay home.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Stadium Goods tried to move some of the more expensive pairs that they have somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, Fresco, a big dude. He'll fuck some people up.
I mean, yeah. It's true.
He's fucking huge, and he's all sorts of ripped and jacked. He'll fuck a dude up for sure.
Well,
Pause.
I mean, like I said, I mean, but you get to a certain point where it's just like, hey, insurance will, we can rebuild. We're not going to risk someone's life. No one's out there risking their life for some shoes. So, but yeah, I think, like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, these stores wouldn't be getting looted if, police officers weren't out here killing black men,
Unarmed
just
black men.
people, unarmed, black people in general, like not just men, but black women. They're killing them. And I think, if this wasn't happening, we would just be another regular Sunday, COVID Sunday, we would just start off with chunky donkeys and talking about how fucked up the game is. But instead, we got to start off with this because of what the police officers are doing in the community. So,
speaking of chunky donkey,
Mm-hmm.
did anybody hit? Does anyone know anyone that hit? Because I don't even know. I have no friends of friends of friends that hit anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody that I know hit.
That's crazy. Usually, I know one person that got it. Even if it's in my extended familia.
It's usually my friend Chris on the Discord. He's usually the guy.
Chris is a human robot.
Human bot.
They are right now, at least in my size, a 1700. Other sizes being not a 9.5. Lower sizes being higher for the most part, but then you get up to 14s, 13s, around $2,000. I mean, yeah, this one really fucked it up, dude. And every fit I saw people wearing them, and it was trash.
Yeah. It's we've discussed this on this podcast plenty of times. I think this is the shoe that, I mean, you gotta think will kind of break the SB bubble. I mean, we're talking a shoe out of the gate that's 16 times the retail price.
Yeah.
On the resale market, and you just after a while, like, people were just like, the fuck, man, it was one of those releases that you laughed at, but at the same time, if you really wanted the shoe, it was it's very frustrating.
Yeah. The friends and family at least is down. Last sale was 3,000. When I think last week we looked at it, it was upward of 4,000. Granted, it wasn't out yet, but at least there's some sort of balance happening where the packaging wasn't enough to keep it that high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, this has to have popped the bubble, I guess, because I can't see. This is one of those ones where it's just so extreme on every level. Like, not only with like the compelling story, with the packaging, the flip on the name, like everything that was done right, but then just the hype was too much. The price got overhyped, and I can't imagine a regular SB going for this much anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I think when you say a regular, I mean, you gotta look. We're talking, these shoes are more than SBs that's 15 years old, and I get it. These are hype sneakers, but I mean, for them to be out the gate this type, and the only other SB that had that I can recall in my immediate memory that had this type of height was the Tiffany Lows. Tiffany Lows in 2005. If there was social media, if there was like an Instagram or a Twitter, I think those would have had similar height. I remember how insane it was for those. That was the SB that made people. There was like 500 people outside of a skate shop for 10 pairs.
Mm-hmm.
To even speak about the importance of that shoe in regards to the lore of this podcast, I think it was like episode 2 or 3 or something. We talked about the Tiffany Dunks for, I think, at least 25 minutes. You know what I mean? That was like half an episode.
Mm-hmm.
In the first we were in single digits talking about those. Before Red Octobers, any of that shit.
I remember being outside of sneakers as a kid and seeing a kid riding around in Tiffany lows. And at the time, I just knew those were just really nice shoes, Like, you can just see them on the silhouette. They're just a nice shoe,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I always just remember I remember being in college, and I was going back to my college, I think like a week after they dropped. And I remember I was so upset because I was like, I'd have been out there trying to get them. And I was still in New York, and a guy on Nike Talk had him, and he said, I asked him how much for the 12, and he said, I think $220.
Yeah.
And I was like, bruh, $220? Who the fuck is paying $220? Right? I said, that's insane, man. That's $220, man. But I remember I wanted them so bad, I paid $220 for them. And
here we are.
And at that point, that was a lot of money for a pair of SBs. That was a lot of money for, unless it was a Jordan or a Foam Positive. Foam Positives weren't even really out in 2005. Like they weren't retro yet at that point. But Jordans, yeah. Air Force Ones, yeah. But fucking SB Dunks, like that was, for a $70 shoe to be $200. Like you just looked at it and you're like, I'm paying resale off the rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, look, if the bubbles popped, like Lawrence, I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think there might be like a couple releases that I'll trickle through because it's like enough hype boxes. Like if Virgil does a dunk, if Fuji gets a dunk, or if Futura gets a dunk, some of these people, if they get a dunk, it'll be just as hype. But I mean, where do you think we're moved here? Like I tried to say that trail running, I think, was going to be a big thing coming up. It's not spiking like I thought, but then again, we're in a weird time, so things aren't moving normally. But I mean, that's just like, where do you guys think it's going to go from here?
Combat boots.
Military grade boots.
Military grade combat boots for the people.
I think we get back to, I feel like we get back to like Air Force One, something basic. They figure out the right celebrities to really market the Air Force Ones never go away, but like, obviously the hype on most of them, isn't.
Yeah.
But,
well, you think, because we just kind of had a little Air Force One spike with the Supreme that, they had that little basic kit or whatever, the Travis ones. We just had a bunch of forces. You think they're going to reach out and visit that? I don't really know if that's going to go there, but I'm not saying you're wrong.
No. I get what you're saying. Remember, I feel like we've had Air Jordan 1s were, for maybe 3 or 4 years, they still bring out a lot of people, but those, a few years ago, those people were fucking going crazy for them. Same with Dunks now, whether it's lows, SBs, people tend to gravitate towards the classic, silhouettes. Now, I'm not saying trail running, but I think, we get to that Air Force One.
I could see Roshi's making a comeback at this point.
Maybe. Roshi's might, some basics, like, I don't know.
New basics, yeah. Like
I can't really see Roshi's. Because Nike keeps pushing the technology forward.
Mm-hmm.
So now instead of Roshi's, you got React.
Yeah, React's kind of the one now. Unless they do like a weird Roshi, because they like to do that. Once it gets kind of stale, they're like, "Hey, we'll trick them. We'll kind of put them together, and they'll
put them together." Yeah.
So you might get some Roshi Reacts, maybe. I could see something like that.
We'll put the Nike Air and the Jordan on the back of the shoe. Genius.
Mm-hmm.
But aren't the sevens came out when? Jordan 7s. Was that 90? Am I about to sound stupid if I think about this?
No, you're not. It's 1992.
Yeah, 92. So we're coming production stuff going to 2022. They might try to lead us in to that whole scheme and make sevens the thing. I mean, Luke, you just bought the hair sevens.
I did just buy the hair sevens.
I'm kind of just spitballing, to be honest. I'm just trying to see here. I really put all my stake into that trail running, and
you look like an
ran
idiot
me
now.
out of the podcast.
You just skipped 2021 though, like
Yeah.
what I mean?
We're not, dude. Come on. We don't really get a 2021. That's a rebuild year. This is the Celtics 08 right now, and then next year is Celtics 09, where we have to rebuild.
Okay.
What do you mean Celtics 09? Celtics 09 was great too. Celtics 08 won the championship.
That's what I'm saying. It's a bad. Oh, wait, hold on. All right.
So,
The Celtics
That was a horrible.
They were still a
analogy.
playoff contender.
Dude,
I just equivalented the rioting to the Celtics winning in
What's
2008.
wrong with you?
I don't know.
The Celtics won a championship in 2000. They possibly would have won the next year if Kevin Garnett didn't get hurt, and they went to the finals in 2010. All
right. New analogy.
What are you talking about?
Back to my point being, I don't know if 2021 is really going to be like a year that we fully get. This year's kind of shot.
Kind of. This year is.
This year's shot.
Fucking, boom, this is out of here. So 2021, I think we're going to be building the pieces. That's why I'm like 2022. That's going to be my year. That's going to be our year. That's going to be everyone else's year. 2022 is the shit.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Trail running.
Trail running might not be the answer.
I mean, look at we obviously things go in phases. I mean, we had, there was the phone posit era. That was what 5-year run of shit just selling out immediately everywhere. Now they sit on the shelves. I mean, we had the Air Jordan 1 run where every Jordan 1 sold out like immediately. Now you can still find some of them on the shelves. We're just kind of in the dunk. I mean, and if we've talked about, I don't know if we talked about this last episode, but Nike is literally throwing dunk after dunk out in 2021. Like they're still gonna ride this dunk wave, because if they, as you've seen, even though it is, even though people are kind of like, when will this end? They've seen what the Brazils, people going crazy for Brazils. They're releasing the St. John's in a couple weeks. So dunks are still going to be the thing in 2021. I mean, this is basically what are we at, like a 2-year stretch now? I mean, that'll be 2 years of dunks just doing numbers. I mean, if you look at the Air Jordan 1s, I mean, we started out in around 2013 of them, like coming out with, Breads, Royals, Black Toes, like, and then that shit went to around 2017-ish, 2018, where everything was just, so they had a good 5-year run. I mean, dunks are still going to be going strong next year.
I mean, maybe it's back to basics. Maybe they like hit some Blazers, you know what I mean, for staying Nike specific. Like maybe they just put out the Kevin
Bradley Blazers this past weekend as well, which I could not get a pair of either. So frustrating.
I mean, if you think about it, Blazers, just as a general model, like maybe they'll try to fall back in between like casual and skate,
right?
Because ones, dunks, and SBs to the casual eye are all the same shoe, right? And generally regarded as a maybe not basic, but a staple amongst silhouettes that Nike has.
Yeah.
So if they try to play off that, like, all right, people seem to like us playing basics, stuff like Blazers. Cortez has gotten some love over some years, but I mean,
yeah,
maybe
the last
they're gonna just
one was like the Kendrick Lamar ones.
The Kendrick ones, right? Yeah,
those are the last good ones.
So I mean, maybe they'll go that direction. Who knows? I mean, it makes sense that they would try to stick with the basics route since it's all doing so great.
Yeah, we might be stuck with dunks for a couple more years. We might see the degeneration of dunks.
Maybe. Lawrence, you were about to say something, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not to go back to the looting, but maybe no, there was something I really wanted to say and I didn't really say it, and I kind of I felt like I need this. I feel like because we put so much pressure on materialistic things, you know. I mean, fuck, we have a podcast dedicated to sneakers and streetwear. Like, you know, we're a materialistic society. So when you see people looting and stealing, whether it's running out with three Louis Vuitton bags, these are things that people are conditioned to equate to some type of success.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Status, you know. So when I feel like when you think about all these stores, you know, when you think about Round 2, when you think about all these other stores that you know, that are RSVP stores that, you know, put out these that make some people feel inadequate, you know, like if you can't get a pair of Travis Scott 270s, you know, I saw that you're just gonna take it. Like now it's like fuck it. And I feel like that's gonna be very interesting to see going forward, because, you know, we're just gonna continue to be a materialistic society. That's how I just feel in my heart. And it's like, this is what happens. You know, it's like you can't as a company have a shoe release that people want so bad, and whether it's like Chunky Dunkies or whatever it is, you can't and then make it so limited that no one can really get a hold of it. I know that's always been the game, the sneaker game, but it's like, this is the problem. Like, where you don't make, I'm not saying you make a billion pairs, but I'm saying at the same time, like, you made these so limited that
they're priced up like so much, you know.
But this is what Nike wants, though. This is like, they don't like. I mean, maybe the 5,000 pairs that they've released, like it's a drop in the bucket, because all it is it just makes more skate shops want to be part of Team Nike.
Right.
Because if a skate shop is, you know, if they're doing decent numbers, if they add Nike to the fold and they get these limited shoes, now they may go from 5,000 followers to 30,000 followers. And then, you know what I mean? It's just, it's very, you know, it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Going back to just to stay on the looting thing too, but it's interesting because you bring up the limited release and all that other shit. I mean, I busted the kids' balls who were stealing 350s and shit. But if you notice, every one of those kids that you see a video of with some boxes, there's a couple 350s in there. And I do want to just remind everybody that Kanye kind of said, like, I want everyone to have these.
Yeah.
He made it and kept it hype enough. He made enough where all these places that we're talking about that got looted, at least these, you know, secondary retail stores, all had enough where everyone that went in, regardless of if they knew shit or not.
That's right, Kanye, you did it.
You did it, dude. Everyone looted your shit.
Everybody got a pair of your shoes when they stole. They got them.
I mean, Lawrence, you're bringing up a great point. The limited shit is kind of a problem because
it's a huge problem. Why
everybody has 350s, but they're still getting stolen.
Right, but why is there, like, the reverse skunks are a great example. The country that you come from is fucking in so much pain right now. They are stuck in they're stuck in a bubble. They can't go anywhere. And so your solution is to just print up 5,000 pairs of 420 pairs of an exclusive shoe for fucking Weed Day when everybody just needs a fucking win, you know? It's ridiculous. Like, don't make it 420 pairs. Like, shit like that is just purposefully just trying to drive up hype, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if they'll ever stop, but Kanye is the best example of some kind of solution.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that with the dunks too, I think that's almost a step in the right direction. Not the SB dunks, but the dunk colorways that are coming out next year.
Yeah, but then even so, it's like, oh, we got all these colorways coming out, but it's like, how many of them are you actually going to get?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Well, you're still not going to get any because it's like, you're just not going to no matter, you can drop 1 million colorways, but it's like, if you still make them limited, and here's the thing, it's like Nike's consumer base is growing. every day. Like there's more people that want what Nike has to offer, but they're still making the same amount of shoes. So it's like, all right, yeah, dope. You know, you just cultivated a new fan base. You just cultivated a new consumer, but at the same time, you ain't making an extra shoe. So now more people are battling for the same, shoe. And then and also I've said this before. I said, these last few months, especially with everyone being home, stores not being physically open, it's caused an effect that people are home, bored, got a Donald dollars in their bank account, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna buy everything.
Yeah.
So wait, no, what do you got?
No, I was gonna say, what were we gonna say, Chris? Go ahead.
Here's a question that I think is China got all fucked up very, very early from all this shit, delayed a bunch of sneaker shit. We know how factories work, generally speaking. They're not like the healthiest places. They're not the best places you don't want to go to factories, generally speaking. They're horrible. They have no code of conduct, whatever. Okay. So just to wrap this all in, like COVID fucked a bunch of shit up. Now we got people rioting because police can't stop killing black people. We're talking about the limited quantities of shoes. We're talking about the benefit of the world with trying to get this virus healthy or whatever. Just to bring it back, loop it all in. What would you guys rather be tackled first? Sustainability in the sneakers when it comes to the treatment of the people in the factories? Or would you rather just have them make more of the sneakers so we can all get it?
All right.
Because there's only basically what we're talking about here, right? Is the quantity of sneakers and the health of the people who get the sneakers. That's ultimately what we're kind of like. That's the basis of the two discussions. Right?
Nah, because it's not because Nike was still whoring people out and making limited shit pre-COVID, bro. So it's not like it's not like COVID changed the way that Nike distributed sneakers or produced sneakers. Like, bro, they still like.
But it's about change, right? The earth is dying. Our people are dying, and we all want solutions, right? So going back to what you're saying. Now, I know I'm kind of really wedging this in here, but I'm trying to get the question to get answered. Would you rather have a limited, clean sneaker with no carbon footprint, or would you rather have everyone get the sneaker that's made to damage the earth? That's not the right wording, but you guys get what I'm saying.
You try to make one side seem a little bit better than the other right now.
Well, I'm just asking because we were just talking about how we all agree we want to get some W's, right?
Yeah.
I would love to get a sneaker that I want with very minimal effort. Does that mean you guys make more of them, or do we clean it up?
It means you make more of them. if we're running low on sneakers, you make more.
Case in point, what you just said, Chris. Yesterday, the Air Jordan 13 Flints came out. All right. Now, normally, sneaker like that comes out, pretty much a lot of people are going to eat on a shoe like that. Did a lot of people eat on those sneakers? That's very debatable. It was a quick sellout, instant sellout. People had a tough time getting them on Foot Locker, the foot stores, finish line. You couldn't get in. Sneakers sold out in like 3 minutes. So now we're getting to the point where even general releases are becoming harder for the average consumer to get.
Yeah.
And I think now that's an issue. And I'm gonna say, fuck Gentry Humphrey, because I've gone on record as saying that he's trying to take it back to where general releases sell out like they used to in 2012.
Yeah.
We've seen, like, we saw metallics, selling out, metallics 4s. We're getting to that point where it's about to be, it's going to be like, you're going to go through hoops. Now, granted, things may change when the stores reopen, but you're going to go through hoops to get a pair of sneakers again.
I want more sneakers, I think. I also want to just get the sneaker. It sucks, though, because this is a perfect opportunity for us to fix a couple things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's
what are you talking about?
More worth than my selfish need for the sneakers.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I was asking this just because I did want to shout out, amongst all this crazy shit that's going on, Allbirds and Adidas are working together to make a shoe that has no carbon footprint.
Right.
Which, just to clarify for those who don't understand what a carbon footprint actually is, it's the use of fossil fuels to create carbon dioxide that goes into the air. That's the
He
nerd.
looked that up. He looked that
I
up
did.
before.
I did look that up.
Really trying.
I don't want to be a part of this misinformation campaign, Luke. All right, everybody?
I'm letting everybody know that you're trying.
I'm trying very hard. I'm trying to produce this goddamn podcast.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I do want to shout them out because that is the right thing to do. Again, it's another weird collaboration that came from a trying time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a step in the right direction for the most part. You would think that Allbirds and Adidas wouldn't really mesh with each other because Allbirds basically just sells Yeezys. Yeah. But they came together and they're doing that, which I think is cool. So when I was wedging that conversation in there, that was basically just to inform the people and to shout them out of the Adidas and Allbird.
Would I rather have like a shelf full of space hippies because Nike's got like a whole collab coming out with like they have like 4 or 5 different new pairs of space hippies coming out.
For sure.
That's gonna be another sneaker that people are gonna be.
That's another thing.
About.
That's gonna be a highly sought after sneaker. It's gonna be worth resell. Like it's gonna be dumb resale money. For what? For like it almost defeats the purpose of even making it if it's like going to 5 people for $5,000. You know?
Well, what is crazy is those shoes are basically Nike looking at the floor of their factories and going like, "Can we just make the shoes out of this shit down here?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said yes.
And they said yes, and then got the hype machine a part of that. So now they're literally selling us garbage.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here, but I want everybody to be safe.
Yeah, that's the main thing, guys. Like, I've been told by more than a few just to stay in because they know what side I'm on at least. So they're like, yo, don't be doing shit that gets us in trouble later. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Black people saying that like the shit that I might do outside of this might get blamed on them. So I'm like, cool, I'll stay inside. You guys been staying inside. And that's kind of the for the most part, the safest move, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, donate money to the funds.
Yep.
I donated some money to the Brooklyn Bail Fund.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it? The George's brother has a GoFundMe. You can go fund that. You can support with your dollar. You don't have to support with your body if you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, anything else, guys? I don't know how much time we've really done here, but we probably could wrap it up.
We've done like almost an hour, like 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of this news has been it's not so much about particular releases, but things that people have been releasing from stores themselves. They've kicked the door down and just grab.
Right. What's with that? You showed me the DIY T-shirt kit. What was that? Before we go?
Yeah, I thought that was just a cool thing. Lawrence, did you see that?
No, I didn't see.
I sent it like right before we recorded, so I didn't stick to anyone home. Let me just pull it up on here. No, there was just amongst all this fucking garbage dog shit that it's almost making me unravel mentally. I did see this fucking. To me, this is irony done correctly and with taste. I mentioned, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I tie-dyed a bunch of shit out of quarantine boredom to save it from coffee stains.
Right.
So this shirt by this brand I've never heard of, Reese Cooper. Actually, no, that name sounds familiar. I'm not so familiar with them specifically. But they made this tie-dye, or not even tie-dye, this do-it-yourself customizing kit where the instructions are on the tee. And it's done in a very tasteful, currently trending format.
Mm-hmm.
The very simple, the clean, just bong, 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 simple writing. And I thought this was cool shit. So I guess they give you all the stuff that you can make the kit. So, I mean, for the audio listeners, they just got like some Dawn, Morton, and some instruction manuals, some dyes, some teaspoons and shit. And basically, you wash the shirt yourself, and then you dye it to have this nice custom color of whatever you want. I think this is cool shit.
That's
I
pretty
do
cool.
like that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
it's very disciplined in taste. It seems very authentic. You have like the actual shit that you're supposed to follow on the shirt. It's not hiding that it's a DIY shirt. I just think this is cool.
Very cool. A nice little pick me up from today's talk.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? I'll say this sincerely. Like doing things like this has, and for the people at home too. If you guys like can't like get yourself to mentally like be in a happier place because of all the shit you're seeing on social media, doing something like this. I'm not saying buy this shit, but doing something like this where you get like a nice little activity, it definitely gets your mind off it.
Little project. I've been working on Gundam model kits.
Oh yeah, you guys in the Discord have been talking about that.
We've been talking about model kits for a couple of days. It's been fun. It's been a good escape from all this craziness.
Yeah, guys, so, like dumb activities like this are super helpful in times where you can't, look at what you normally look at your phone.
There you go.
Everything is just like a cesspool right now. It's so I don't even want to like make jokes. Like I don't even want to tweet things just because like I don't want to seem insensitive. It's just a
You
weird
really
time.
shouldn't.
No. Dude, the other day I was like, for like 10 minutes, I was trying to word this joke on Twitter, and I was like, and then like, you exit out and you just see videos of people throwing shit at cops, and you're like, I think I could save this for later.
Yeah,
You can save it for later. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, just do shit like this. This is cool. Reese Cooper, DIY shit, tie-dye some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Have some fun.
Yeah,
There you
like
go.
I said, great time to clean your sneakers, organize your whole shit.
There you go. Stay
Do you
safe.
guys use cleaner on your sneakers? I'm trying to figure out.
No,
if
not
you-
really.
Not really. Okay.
No, I mean the best sort of cleaning thing, depending on what material it is, but like I'm assuming you're having trouble with like suede or a mesh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
It's
one
the
of the-
Fear
yeah.
of Gods. It's like a weird suede material.
If you can get them, I don't know how you would get them right now, but some OxyClean spray or something comparable.
Okay.
What you do is you just spray that, give it like some just enough so it's like damp enough, and then you just lightly dab with a cotton ball or whatever.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Sounds good.
Any other final thoughts, guys?
Nah, just stay safe. Love each other. And that's it, man.
Yeah. Join the Discord. I mean, we're having fun in there. That's also another good distraction. We just talk shit. Follow us on social media. I mean, if you guys are already listening this far, you probably already do. But if not, at Not That Cheney, at Drovesis, at LZD325. You can leave us a voicemail. If you go to the Instagram, there's a phone number. You can text, leave us a voicemail. You can email us. Come distract yourselves with us, guys.
Yeah.
Word.
And that's it. 1:15. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Peace.